audience that we're pitching this to is business in the Netherlands. Remember that. We're not trying to convince everyone here in Australia. We're literally trying to convince an industry in the Netherlands that it's a good idea to fund something that's going to happen here that's a celebration. We talked in that last speech, they talked about a whole series of ways to convince people that it's good for their business. Well, I think if you've got over 40% of, or the fourth largest investor in this country is from the Netherlands, it's quite clearly going to be in their business interest to have something branded here that we can then actually show their corporate good citizenship and all that. So I think a lot of the key points that were raised there, as long as there's a clear package of benefits and a clear package of what's going on, I think the value for Dutch industry in Holland who are either doing business here or who want to come here and do business, there's going to be something there for them. And so our pitch is short and funny, hopefully, or short and sad, depending on how you view it. But quite simply, the Dutch are renowned business people. Miners, Manhattan, tulips, the fact they didn't take over Australia. So the real question is are they going to support us in celebrating 400 years of Dutch heritage, or are they going to become the fourth business analogy that we can use? Hey, feel free. So the idea here is quite simply, when you come to these things, I walked into a business recently at Doff Subset, another business here. We were talking about going and looking at a shipwreck off the coast of West Australia, and we're going to go and visually document that and tell that story. Corporate goodwill, corporate business. That company was involved in the 2009-10 search. It's already got a pre-commitment, everything like that. But within a few minutes, because you knew the product that you're taking to the market, because you could explain it in simple language that wasn't complex, that they could readily understand, and they could see the value of that, a massive amount of in-kind money was on the table shortly. You hadn't even gotten through the first 5 minutes, and it was clear that there was a simple understanding. My personal belief is you don't have to flog something hard for people in relation to this. You do have to have very clear rules, but I think there is obvious value. And I think our job here is just to talk about that obvious value in a meaningful way. And that's going to, as we go into those rooms, what company am I representing when I walk in there? Well, I might be representing the working group that are doing something in relation to the Hartog 16 or to Australia remembering another 164 years. We will define the company that we are and what we're doing. We know the product we want. We want to sell people and the development of their identity over that extra period of time. What we're asking from the businesses is to get in and support us through this period so that we have at our hands the monetary means by which we can then start to develop a series of communication methods, be they from the internet to young people, to TV, to anything, to theatre, to whatever, communicating that period. So if we can get that support, and we can pull together those different shotgun methods of communication, I think then we'll have a very successful time. So there's the pitch.
And who would like to go first? Yeah, big one on the phone, if you have to switch something on.
You go first. Ladies first.
Oh my God. I just want to say I'm biased and I'm really, my tears were going down my cheeks, so well done.
Thank you.
No, I thought it was a great pitch. I think one of the key issues is communication. I mean, when we were sitting around the Maritime group, I was very conscious of the fact that, shall we say, most of us are not in our teens anymore. And I think that if we're going to have enduring knowledge about these cultural issues spread to the community, we need to make sure we're catering for Gen Y. And I really think that we need to make sure whatever outputs we do, we have things that go on the internet or are accessible by YouTube or whatever. So I think communication is going to be really important, and we need to go beyond this kind of formal session. I'm not saying they're not important, they are, but we need to make sure we actually appeal to a younger generation, which is much more, shall we say, electronically orientated than perhaps some of us are.
All right, thank you very much.
I agree with the pitch. I like the angle of making sure that it resonates with businesses in the Netherlands. I mean, Shell's had a long interest in Australia, over 100 years of interest actually in Australia and investing here. We've helped open up the regions in Australia, and I think if you sort of resonate with things that the business has already been doing and already interested in, we helped open up Australia, we helped map Australia, and we're currently about to invest $30 billion in Australia. So there's a lot of interest, and if you can link in our existing investment interests with our cultural interests and cultural partnerships, then I think you're probably hitting the mark for us.
Well, someone's going to be the Gordon Ramsay on this panel, and I think it's going to be me. Basically, I'm a designer. We do pitches to make business, and we're a micro business, and so we have to be really sharp and fast, and we don't have the support of bureaucracy or a corporate behind us. If you were doing the challenge that you've been put before you, which was 3-minute pitch, you ran over time. Second point is, I had a real difficulty working out what is the product that you're selling. Eventually I got to that it was a vision documentation of shipwreck, targeting to be communicated by some sort of multiple communication, multimedia methodology. That was the product that I heard, and then it was good that you're saying your target audience was business in the Netherlands, but perhaps that question of how do you align what you're actually wanting to do with the business, you probably wouldn't want to target that at shipbuilders, because if you have a shipbuilder talking about ships that have sunk, it's probably not going to work. So, look, yeah, it's a great concept, but I really think if this was a real 3-minute pitch, then you're going to have to sharpen up an awful lot, because I was a bit trying to decide, is this Malcolm giving us another lecture, or is it a pitch from a company and a group that want to do something? How much do you want me to be Gordon Ramsay from now on? Okay, that'll do for the moment.
All right. I actually take your point on board. I just think it's impossible to communicate unless you have a person to communicate to. So a generic comment is always going to be generic. You really have to have, in the lecture it said, you have to know the business that you're talking to. You can only tailor what you say when you can talk to your audience. And at this time, our audience is general. So you will talk generally in a general context. When you actually have a specific person across the pub from you, buying you around, and you're trying to get money from them, you'll speak differently. You know, you have a different way to approach it. In the case of Shell and The Hague, when you're talking to them and you have that sense of what they've done and where they're going, you're not actually trying to establish goodwill. Goodwill and good intentions are already there. What you're now talking about is how the product that you're going to do is going to actually help them in their next 4-year corporate citizenship agenda, and where we're intending to cross-market that into all the elements that we're going to do. And so my language to Shell wouldn't be a pitch. It'd be, this is where we're going, this is how we can take you there, and this is the areas where we'll all get benefit.